Hi everybody, welcome to lesson number 7 of the StockAbility Startup. This one is called Sharpening Your Mental Edge. I thought we'd do things a little bit differently for this final lesson in our mini series here and talk about a subject that I'm extremely passionate about. Just as passionate about, as I am the markets themselves, and that's psychology. And the reason I wanted to call this one Sharpening Your Mental Edge was just because, one of the things that I learned very, very early on when I started getting involved in the markets was once you've got a good strategy, once you've got the right education, the right help and so on, it's all about just following through with a process. And, I can't teach somebody that, on a chart. This is something that has to be explained, something where you have to do a little bit more reflection on your own kind of actions and what you're doing as well. Because when it comes down to it, you could give somebody a fantastic trading plan. You could take a world-class trading plan. Heck, you could take Warren Buffett's trading plan. You could take Paul Tudor Jones's trading plan. You could take it right now, and it doesn't mean you're going to make money with it. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, why, Sam? Why? Because at the end of the day, that plan matches them. It works for them. And it's all about having a plan and a strategy that works for you. It becomes a very personal process if you like trading. And a lot of it comes down to that psychology, that mindset. Let's just think about this for a second. And I've been teaching people for many, many years, thousands of people I've worked with. And I've been an educator. I've also been a coach as well. And I said, it's a little bit like that multi-million-dollar business idea that we've all had. And they look at me and they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, we've all had that multi-million-dollar business idea, right? That invention, that thing we should have patented, that thing we should have done, that itch we wanted to scratch, but we never scratched it. Somebody else did though. And there's a few people who actually say, I got a great idea, but then they don't actually do it. I mean, how many great ideas have we had that we didn't ever follow through on? I mean, I've lost count of the amount that I've had. And a lot of it comes down to procrastination, fear of success and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to go too deep or heavy with it. But I want you to think about what I just talked about there and think about it in the world of trading. If you've got a great plan, then you've got to execute on that plan and follow through on that plan. And one of the things I think it's really important to talk about here is discipline. Discipline comes and goes. Sometimes we're disciplined with what we do, and sometimes we're not very disciplined what we do. As a trader, you have to remain disciplined. And one of the biggest mistakes I see over and over and again with a lot of market speculators is they second guess themselves and they make it about what they think rather than what they see. And they are two very, very different things. Remember when we talked about perception versus reality? I remember quite a number of years ago, somebody talking to me, about the roots and the fruits. And it was a great little story, and I'm not going to paraphrase it perfectly here, but it was a great story about, you have one gentleman who turns up at market to sell his apples, and they're not too nice. They're kind of rotten, pretty stale, just not good. And the other gentleman turns up at the market, and he's got these fantastic apples. They're just juicy and fresh and clean. And the guy, with the bad apples can't sell any, and he's jealous. He's like, I've got bad apples. I want to have good apples. And the guy with the good apples turns around and says, well, are you focusing on taking care of the tree? The tree produces the apples, and the tree itself needs to be nourished, and the roots of the tree have to be taken care of. And it's the roots that produce the fruits. It's an old story, and you might be laughing and oh yeah, what's this guy talking about? But just think about it for a second here. The better care you take of the tree, the better the care of the roots, the better the fruits at the end of it, okay? You heard of the term, the fruits of our labor, right? And over the years, I wanted to put this into kind of a way that I could demonstrate this, theory to my students. And I came up with this whole thing called like the bar system. And again, some of you might think, oh, this is cheesy, dude. But hey, I'm a simple man with a simple brain. I just want to be able to remember something. The bar, beliefs, actions, results. And it's kind of like the roots and the fruits that we just talked about here. Let me explain for a second, everything that we do in life begins with our belief system. Okay, now I'm not going to lay you down on a couch. I'm not going to kind of get you finding your inner self-worth right now. This is not a coaching session. We're not going to be running over hot coals anytime soon. But it's about just getting down to the nitty-gritty, the black and white of what makes us function. And we all have a belief system, right? So it all starts with that belief system. And guys, one of the things that a lot of traders run into that's a real problem is what they believe is true. And in life, whatever we believe is true, right, wrong, okay, you're always going to say something's right if you agree with it, and you're always going to say it's wrong if you disagree with it. Well, your right might not be the same as mine. It comes down to what you believe. And if somebody believes with every ounce of their soul that the market's going to go up, their actions are going to represent that. They believe that the market's going to go up. Their action is they're going to buy. And they are going to hold on to that position, whether it's winning or losing, to prove what they believe was true. Well, the result is the market might go down. It might lose them 50%. It might wipe out their account. But the result that they get is a direct result of their actions, and their actions are a result of their beliefs. Beliefs, actions, results. And every time you look at the market, every time you think about getting into a trade, you've got to think about that belief system. Do I believe this market's going up? Well, if you do, you're probably going to buy it. Do I believe this thing's going to go down? If you do, you're probably going to sell it. It's going to lead to an action, right? And the result is going to be directly related to that action that you took. The bar, belief, action, results. Now, here's a problem, though. People are having bad results. They've got to look at what they were doing. And if they look at what they're doing, they've then got to look at what they believe. You know, here's the thing. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is don't have an opinion. It don't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter. The market does not care what you believe. Sometimes you're going to believe the market's going to go up, and guess what? It will go down. Other times you'll believe it's going to go down, it will go up. And sometimes you'll think it's going to go sideways, and it does that. And you think, man, I cracked it. Doesn't matter. You've got to live in this world of you don't know what's going to happen next. You know nothing in the market. All you know is your plan. So you almost have to go into this with a belief system as, hey, you know what? I'm neutral. I'm going to just trade and invest based on what I see. If it's low, I want to buy it. If it's high, I want to sell it. And your actions will then complement that belief system, that kind of neutral belief system of just following a plan. Then you will have objective actions, rule-based actions. And then guess what you'll get? You'll get results that are reflective of your actions. You've got to raise the bar, raise your belief system, okay? Raise your belief system. Don't go into this with an opinion. Don't go into it with any expectation at all. Expect that, hey, you know what? You know nothing. That's the way I look at the market too. It's more about the plan. And if the plan is solid and the risk management is in place and you've got a step-by-step process, you guys can have a good, solid action plan that's going to give you a much better set of results. Objectivity. Remember when we talked about perception and reality in our previous lesson? That's what it's all about. Beliefs, actions, results. Raise the bar. Get that belief system about the market to a neutral state. It doesn't matter if it's going up or down, whether you're right or wrong. Follow the process. You know, I had a mentor quite early on in my trading career, and he had a mentor too. And I'm not going to name names here, but you know, I come from a school where I was trained by people who worked on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, in the banking industry, hedge fund managers. So I had a very blessed education. And those guys were some of the most humble people I ever met. They were the ones who were telling me, Sam, your opinion don't matter. The only matter, or should I say the only opinion that matters, is the markets. They drilled that into me. And my mentor's mentor was a very famous trader, and there's many books that have been written about him. And during one of his most successful periods of time, that guy was wrong 86% of the time. Imagine that, being wrong 86% of the time. What do you think he believed about himself then? I'm a loser. I'm always wrong. Guess what? He was wrong most of the time, but when he was wrong, he took it on the chin. He took a small loss, but when he was right, man, he let that thing run, and he had a fantastic run. It's not about right. It's not about wrong. You know, we talked about it. Let the big wins happen. Let the small wins happen. Let the small losses happen. That's part of the game. Just don't let the large loss happen. And too many people let the large loss happen because they get attached to an opinion, because of something they believe. What their belief is dictates their actions. It then dictates their results. Raise the bar, guys. Raise your game, and you're going to have a great chance of making this work. That was lesson 7, Sharpening the Mental Edge. And it brings us to the conclusion of this series for now, but this is where the journey really begins. We'd love you to stay in touch with us. The best way to reach out is info@stockability.com, or you can reach us at stockability.com, our website. And we can be found on all popular social media, from Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, where we have our own channels and pages as well. We are posting new content and updates daily as well. And every single day, the 3-minute market update will be published weekdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be hosting a lot of Facebook Live Q&As as well with myself and the team, so great opportunity for you to interact with us and ask us questions about the market. And I'd highly suggest getting onto the website stockability.com and subscribing to our weekly interactive newsletter called Take Stock. We have a weekday edition published on a Tuesday and our weekend edition, which will be hitting your inbox on a Saturday morning as well. Finally, podcasts, guest spots, interviews. We're getting some great guests coming onto the shows as well. We're going to be sharing our own analysis and monthly webinars on StockAbility.com if you're interested in finding out more about what we do and joining us on our educational programs too. Lots of great things for you to get involved with. We're really excited to have you part of this journey.